What's going on, y'all? What's going on? This is a topic that I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time now. Uh, just been busy, but I don't want to keep putting it up, so I want to talk about it tonight. Um, there's a lot of things that I want to get off my chest based on my experiences and my thoughts as a 33-year-old male. Um, Also, things that might not be politically correct, and you know what? I don't give a shit because Um, there's too many young men dying, and no one's talking about it. Not no one, but it's relatively handful of people that are talk about men's health, especially young men's health. Men in their 30s, men in my age group are dying by the day due to they're dying by suicide. They don't call it committed suicide anymore. They call it dying by suicide. Um, but that doesn't change the fact that young men, especially my age range, are killing themselves because they're realizing that the world doesn't give a shit about them, and we're gonna get into that. This is a very, very important topic, so um, you know, let's keep the jokes to a minimum. I know we always have fun and joke around, and I'm all for it. I don't take myself seriously, but this is a very serious topic because um, young men who there are lots of young men that may seem positive on the outside are actually struggling on the inside. So Um, no, I really want to talk about this. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, but I'm not gonna put it off anymore because it might save a life today or at some point in the future. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes, to send out notifications, and we'll dive right into the topic. In the meantime, if you guys want to say what's up in the chat, I'd love to see you guys. I'm gonna be talking, but at the same time, if you guys have anything to add to the conversation, feel free to comment. I see three people on the stream, so that means YouTube is sending out notifications finally. I'll get a couple more minutes, wait for a few more people to join, and we'll get into it. Put my phone on silent. What up, Ronnie? How's it going, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Hey, Angie. Angie, thanks for bringing up this topic. Yeah, it needs to be talked about for sure. Literally, hundreds of young men are dying, have died, and they continue to die by suicide, and literally no one's talking about it. Only a handful of people. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to the Pedro and Hannibal podcast. Let me see. Let me grab the link for them. They've also been talking about the mental health of men, especially young men, men in our age range. So shout out to them. Yeah, I don't really see many other people talk about it. I don't know if it's because they're not in my community and they're not in my sphere, they're not in my circle of people. But I want to give credit where credit is due. So if you guys are interested in young men's or men's mental health in general, there it is. There's a link to their channel. Nothing like some cold black tea. All his detox, detox all those toxins out. Just waiting for YouTube notifications to go out because I want people to be in on this conversation. I don't want this whole stream to be me blabbering. I will be talking a lot, sharing my thoughts, but I want you guys to share your thoughts as well. This is a very, very important topic. Honestly, I don't know. I might get canceled after, or I might get shadow banned after this stream. I don't know. But this is an important topic, and I'm still gonna, you know, I'm still gonna shed light on it because that's what that's what needs to be done. I'm not gonna keep quiet while men my age or younger, or even older than me are dying by suicide every day. I'm not gonna keep quiet. I'm gonna shed light on it because a lot of people, honestly, a lot of people know about it. They don't care. Meanwhile, other some other people don't know about it because society doesn't really want to know that men are dying by suicide every day, and that's why they don't talk about it. Is my opinion. I apologize. I didn't schedule this in advance. It's kind of like last minute, but you know, I feel I believe that the people who want to watch this will if they don't watch it live, they can catch a replay. All right, 6 minutes in. Let's go. And again, this is all my from what I've seen. These are whatever I'm gonna get into. These are my experiences, my thoughts, my observations. These are things that I've seen. Uh, so yeah, I just want to preface that with it. So the first first I want to get into why I believe a lot of men, especially my age, around my age range, I believe the average age of the man that's dying by suicide nowadays is 35, 36. I'm 33, so I'm not too far off. I'm still within that age range. And being a man is difficult in this world. And also another thing that I wanted to say is that when I talk about um, men and the challenges that they have to face on a daily basis, or maybe from a childhood, I'm not just gonna say that being a woman is a lot easier. So I want to be. I just want to preface that. The reason why I said that is because there's a lot of things okay, so a lot of the challenges that women go through are talked about pretty much every day. But a lot of the challenges that men go through, they're not talked about. As a matter of fact, often we're told to man up. We're told to grow a pair and just deal with it. Um, when it comes to therapy, men aren't really encouraged to go to therapy. They're told to man up and um, man up and do better, become a better person. So a lot of things that I say, I'm not trying to say that women's life are easier because I feel, I strongly believe that women have different challenges and men have different challenges. But I want to shed the light on, um, to the challenges that men are going through because obviously they don't have a place to go, they don't have an outlet, they don't have someone to talk to, and that's the reason why they're resorting to suicide. Which is really unfortunate. Honestly, I can sympathize because I've been through some of the challenges that they've been through or that they might be going through right now. And I'm not gonna say that you know my biggest belief is that you shouldn't try to um resolve a short-term problem with a permanent solution. Um, for me, I've been, I guess, fortunate enough to be able to seek therapy, not because I wanted to take that permanent solution, that permanent resolution. What up, Silva? We got Silva in the house. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Um, you know, for me, I don't know if it's because of my personality, but for me, um, I'm just a super driven person. So for me, I'm always trying to get results and things. But also understand that a lot of men aren't in this they don't have that same personality. They're like, you know what, life and society are treating me like shit, so I'm gonna self delete myself. Also, the YouTube doesn't like the S word, you know, the one that I mentioned about a minute ago. So I'm gonna use self delete instead. Um, for all my content creators that talk about this topic, you might be very familiar with that. That the YouTube and just social media in general, they tend to block content creators that use the S word, the word that's um, the word that rhymes with Telluride. Sorry, I don't have a better term. But yeah, so I'm gonna use the word self delete. So a lot of men that use the word self delete, or a lot of the men that choose to go the self delete option route, you know, they're alone. They're very lonely. And you know, that's because you know, honestly, society doesn't give a shit about men. Um, you know, should they? I believe so, but you know, with all these, you know, with all these talks about toxic masculinity, and oh, a man is just being a man, and you know, they should be doing this, they should be doing that. That's all affecting men's health, especially young men's health, because they don't have the experience, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the coping mechanisms that they need to counteract these thoughts. You know, one of the things that they teach you whenever you're in cognitive behavioral therapy, you know, or CBT for short, is that you have to combat the negative thoughts with the positive thoughts. And with, you know, okay, so let's take a step back. With men, we're biologically programmed to be providers. We're biologically, and you know, historically, we're programmed to be providers and protectors of our families, our kids, and providing financially. So like, you know, food, and everything that's necessary to survive. And you know, with the cost of the cost of uh you know, just everyday goods, the cost of rent, everything going up, you know, men you know, working jobs that can't keep up, and you know, um who um they can't really keep up, and you know, give them opportunity to provide for their families. That's also taking effect on men's mental health. Divorces, you know, 50% of marriages end in divorce, and 80% of those marriages are the divorce is filed by the woman, by the wife. So that's also, you know, divorces are also taking um a toll on men's mental health, because you know, they feel like a failure, they feel like you know, they're not good enough for this world. You know, they're not valued. And what does society tell them when they're in that position? Man up, grow a pair. Um, yeah, this is a lot more difficult than I thought. um, for me, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. And that's kind of by choice, but that's a different conversation. Um, society doesn't value men the way that they used to be valued, or the way they even think that, you know, they're valued. And I should say we, because I'm in this too. We're not valued for what we are, but we're not valued for who we are, but we're valued for what we can provide to society. You know, over time, over decades, over centuries, you know, men have built buildings, public roads, all these things that are necessary for for society to function. And and then you know, for society to turn around, and you know, whenever men, you know, we want to open up. Okay, so okay, let's do this. So let's play devil's advocate, right? So when a man does open up and talk about it, they're not heard. Um, you know, one of the things that is recommended and encouraged now is, oh, men should be transparent. Men should be open with their wives about, you know, some of the struggles they're going through. Number one, women don't care about men's problems, especially if they're married to them. Number two, they're turned off by that, because now, when a man discusses their problems, the problems that they're having in their personal lives, it's a turn off for them, right? Now they start questioning, hey, is this man good enough to protect me and my kids? Is this man capable of providing for me and my kids? And, you know, the hamster in the wheel start to get moving, so to speak. And now they start looking around. You know, maybe you know, they start you know, think about like, hey, can I do better? Can I find you know, a male partner um that's more suitable for me, and that's why a lot of marriages end up in divorce. And again, I'm not blaming women. This is part of their biology, and it's within their right to find a partner that that they think is best suited for them. But also, I'm shedding light on some of the challenges that men go through, and that's one of the biggest challenges right now. With everything getting super expensive, and also, lot of things have weakened men over the years. Porn, um, what else? Video games, like all these digital stuff, and a lot of men, if they came from like really fit ancestors, they're overweight now. Um, too much processed foods, and all this stuff, and I'm not pointing fingers at them. I'm one of them too. I've actually, for me, one of my biggest struggles since childhood was using food as a coping mechanism. Some people use alcohol, some people use smoking, and some people use food. We're all fighting our demons, but we're just doing it with different vices. And for me, and a lot of other people, it's food. And that's not a good coping mechanism because it could lead to health problems down the road. But the problem is that men are, especially in their 30s, they're lonely. Whether they're married or not, loneliness doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you have kids, whether you're not married. It's just not being heard. Men aren't being heard by society, and that's not because they're not seeking therapy. It's because society doesn't care about men. Um, Especially with all this feminism movements about you know masculinity is toxic, and this and that, and especially young men that are younger than me, or men my age, um they don't have any coping mechanisms. Sure, they can, go to therapy and talk to the therapist about the problems, but until they focus on becoming a better version of themselves, then they're going to be stuck in that position. You know, I heard about the tragic death of Stephen Twitch Boss, who was a DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show, and that's one of the things that you know not inspired me, but I because again I've been meaning to talk about this topic for a while now, so I guess the news that I heard yesterday accelerated it, even though I've heard about many celebrity deaths in the past. Many male celebrity deaths. I said, you know what? Enough of. I gotta go on my channel. I gotta talk about it. I know I don't have a super large following, but you know that doesn't mean that you have to be subscribed to my channel to watch it. I know that people who search mental health on YouTube, especially for men, they're gonna find my video eventually, as long as YouTube doesn't shadow ban me. But I love to get some of the thoughts of fellow males who are in their 30s. Um, I like to hear about what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome. For me, um, for me, I was when I was in high school, I was really shy. I was a really timid person, so I had to overcome that. Um, but in college, I became more rounded. I felt more comfortable opening up. I networked with a lot of people, and it's a big part of who I am today. And but after college, when you're in your 30s, it's difficult. It's difficult to network. It's become more difficult to network because a lot of the friends they may have, they may be getting married and having kids, and if you're not married and you don't have kids, it's hard to talk about that. We got Steed in the house. What up, SMT? How's it going, man? Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who joining me tonight. For to hear me out on this topic. I know it's not a popular topic. I know it doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's a very important one, and that's why I'm doing my piece. I'm doing my part in talking about this because I'm tired of seeing young men, especially men my age, die by suicide because they feel like they're alone and they feel like they don't have any to talk to. Which is complete BS in my opinion. But the problem is that society doesn't really care. The only the only people that are really able to relate and care and be able to give advice to men is other men themselves. Steve says, "I came to listen. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you. It's a big honor." Um, I would say that that's if you ask me, John, what do you think is the reason for men, for so many men, um, dying by suicide these days? Because they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to, and they feel alone. They have a lot of problems. They have a lot of burden to carry, and they feel like there's no one to talk to. Maybe they don't have anyone they can trust in their lives, or maybe a lot of times I've talked to other men. They said, "Hey, I talked to people that I thought I could trust, and no one really cares. No one wants to talk. No one wants to listen." So if you have someone that is struggling in your life, whether they're men or women, we all have our challenges. Even if you don't know what advice to give them, I encourage you to listen, because just listening to someone, because if you're not a therapist, you don't know how to, or you're not trained to on how to provide advice. The one thing you can do is just you can listen. Listening is huge, because many people, they feel like they don't have anyone to listen to. As long as you listen to them without any judgment, you're already doing a really big part, and also you're probably saving their life. Um, um, Sorry, it's a lot harder than I thought. It's a lot harder than I envisioned, talking to you guys, talking to a camera about why young men or men my age are dying by suicide. Um, Let me see what the average age is, because this is something that I really want to know. Let's see, male suicide rates versus female. Okay, we can look at that. That's what Google suggested. Uh, let's see. I found this Wikipedia source. I don't really like using Wikipedia as a source, but um probably because they trained me in college not to use it as a reliable source. The problem with Wikipedia is that anyone could edit and change information on there. Um, so you have to check the sources within Wikipedia, because Wikipedia itself is not a source. But just for context, let me share the screen here. Let's see what's on Wikipedia, and we can discuss it. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, or whatever source they're using, it says gender differences in suicide rates have been shown to be significant. There are different rates of suicides and suicidal behavior between males and females among both adults and adolescents. While females more often have suicidal thoughts, males die by suicide more frequently. Again, what I told you guys, they don't use committed suicide anymore. It's died by suicide. This discrepancy is also known as the gender paradox in suicide. Globally, death by suicide occurred 1.8 times more often among males than among females in 2008, 1.7 times in 2015. I'd love to know what the numbers are in 2022. I think they're a lot higher. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of things that are affecting young men's mental health. A lot of um, I can't remember where I read it, but there's been some studies recently saying that there's men enrollment in college has actually dropped significantly, and that's because men believe that college can't really benefit them. And is that a step in the right direction? I guess we'll see. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're rolling in trade school, but the thing is that we need men to be confident. We need men um, to lead, because that's how society has always been. That's how we're programmed. Men have always, we're biologically programmed to lead. We're biologically programmed to build, to progress, to protect, to provide for society. And when things like Twitch, when OnlyFans, when young men are donating their time, their money to women that have no interest in them, then that affects their psychology big time. Also, it depends on the type of home that the family, that the boy is coming from. If they're, if they're coming from a single parent home, if if they're raised by their mom or if they're raised by their dad. Um, we got two phones for free now. So what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by. Hello, John. I'm new here. I saw your channel because of one of your mods. Mods. Okay. Well, appreciate you stopping by. I think I've your username sounds familiar. I think I've seen you somewhere, maybe. Oh, post. Oh, okay, gotcha. I think. Yeah, I think that's where I've seen you on Twitter at Steam Bubble Tech's Twitter. So if Sneed, if you retweet that, thank you, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, we're seeing so many young men. When I say young men, I'm even include my age, 35, 40, because that's way too young to die. But we have a few men in chat. What do you guys think? What do you guys think that some of, or maybe challenges that you've been through through yourselves? What do you think is some other challenges that young men are facing these days? Do you think it's just do you think it's financial? Do you think it's too many distractions online? They're not able to focus on building themselves up, becoming better version of themselves. Do you think it's because all this talk about toxic masculinity and putting men down? Do you think the lack of encouragement and support for young men, because there's a ton of support society, and when I say they, I'm blaming society. I'm not blaming men or women. I'm saying they. So society, whenever they don't give enough encouragement to and support to young men, do you think that's the reason why a lot of men feel lonely? Do you think that's the reason why young men feel like they're alone, or they can't? Because even men in their I call them men because after 18 I think they're men. I don't know, but even then, like, even if they don't know that they're supposed to lead and protect and to provide for society, it's it's in our biological DNA. It's who we are. We know it, because and that bothers us. We if we're at a young age, because for me, even it took some time to realize that this is how this is how men should be. This is how we're programmed. This is who we are. Even when I was 19 or 20, I knew something was off. So when you're young, something is off, but you don't know what it is because you haven't had the experience, you haven't had knowledge, you haven't had the opportunity to grow into and become your own person. Kent Mason, how's what's going on, man? Thanks for thanks for appreciate you stopping by. Antidepressants and antipsychotics only work. That's a really good point. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Lot of and I'm gonna say that goes for men and women. Society. Whether you want to blame it on our healthcare system, just dumb you exactly. Yep, they slow down your thought process. Um, they they, and I don't know, you can say that's by design, but that's probably how scientifically they can help you slow down your negative thoughts. I don't know, but yeah, that's another problem, with our healthcare system. And honestly, I blame this country's lack of support for mental health. All these tragic events that we're seeing across the nation, I think they're due to the fact that the U.S. doesn't really take mental health seriously in this country. Especially for young men. It's always been man up. What Okay, whenever you see man, I really don't want to use the phrase, but I guess I'm gonna have to. But whenever you see like a mass shooting or school shootings or things like that, whenever you see some type of mass public tragic incidents, it's most I don't even want to say most of the time, because almost every time it's a man. It's either a young man, or yeah, usually it's a young man in their 20s, in their 30s. Um, and what does this country say? Oh, we gotta take guns away. That guns aren't a problem. And this isn't a like a pro or anti-gun stream. I just want to make that clear. Damn, I'm talking about everything that YouTube hates tonight. It's all right though, because these things need to be talked about. But yeah, that's what the country thinks. It's almost like they're turning their uh I forgot the phrase. They're turning their cheek to or they're turning a blind eye. That's what I was trying to think of. They're turning a blind eye to mental health. They're saying something's wrong with this person. They think it's an isolated incident when it's really not. especially after the pandemic. A lot of families, men included, men especially, they lost their businesses, they lost their families, they lost their kids, they lost their wives because maybe they weren't able to afford. So their wife divorced them, and went someone else. So I would say mental health in this country, especially for men, after the pandemic, has gotten a lot more challenging. And yeah, I agree with Kent Mason. I don't believe that antidepressants and antipsychotics are the answer. They might help short term, but then eventually your body gets used to them. So now you have to increase the dosage, and every time that cycle keeps happening, then it's just not good for your health overall, and it doesn't really take you anywhere, because now you could be depressed, but your mind is numb. You can't really think. You can't think for creativity. You can't you start having lower critical thinking skills. You have trouble thinking for your own. Um, one of my favorite artists, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. He too died by suicide. And then it's crazy because a lot of us, the generation that grew up on Linkin Park, like when they were in their prime and they were putting out hit after hit. When Hybrid Theory and Meteora came out, those two albums, they helped us get through that, especially Chester because he was the vocalist. Um, whenever we listen to Linkin Park, yeah, exactly. Rest in peace, Steven, Twitch boss. That was his name. So people can seem happy and happy, smile, all smiles on the outside, but they could be really struggling on the inside. That's the common theme for people who die by suicide, for men who die by suicide. Um, and the same thing happens to women. Um, the reason why I'm focusing this stream today on men's mental health is because the number of men that are dying by suicide is staggering, and no one really is really talking about it. So I want to do my part and talk about it. I want to shed light on it. And I appreciate you guys joining again and listening to the conversation, contributing. He seemed really happy. Yeah, exactly. Um, for me, as someone who has had to battle intrusive thoughts on my own, it's almost like you use humor. You use like for me personally, I like being around people. I feed off of other people's energy, so it's easy for me to joke around and smile and seem happy on the outside, and that's because I genuinely enjoyed it. But at the same time, some men use that to cover up what's going on the inside. And also, I'm going to be honest with you guys, a lot of men don't feel comfortable opening up because of what society has told them. Be a man, grow up hair, grow up, be stronger. Young men, when I say young men, I mean men in their 20s and 30s especially. They don't get the same encouragement from society that young women do. When a young woman talks about her problems, you know, she might hear positive reinforcement. When it comes to men, we hear negative reinforcement. Women hear, "You're a queen, you're a boss. Go seek therapy. You got this." When you're a man, they tell you, "Hey, shut the hell up and grow up here." They tell you, "Oh, just man up." And these aren't things that are helpful. We believe in these things because at the especially when we're in our younger 20s, we believe those things because that's how we're programmed. We're taught to, when I say we, I mean men. We're taught to we're taught to shut up, hold our emotions inside, and just keep working. And I'm not saying that men shouldn't hold themselves accountable. They shouldn't be trying to become the best version of themselves every day, but also there's a place for that. Men don't really have an outlet for expressing their thoughts, for communicating their thoughts, for talking about some of the struggles that they go through, and that's I put that blame on society. Even even a lot of cultures like for me, my ethnicity is Armenian. Um, you know, we have there's a Middle Eastern culture, there's Italian culture, Hispanic culture. A lot of these cultures, and I think in Spanish, um, I think it's called machismo. Like it's like be masculine. If I hope I used the correct word, but it's the same. It's the same concept of being a man in English, or in American culture, and yeah, it's tough being a man in your 30s, because when you're 20s, you're going through college. You may be partying, you're studying, you're surrounded around lots of great people, you know, a lot of common interests. Then you graduate. You graduate. You're starting your career early. You're gaining all this experience. You're meeting a lot of cool new people, but then you get into your 30s, where a lot of your friends that you had in college, or maybe even family members, they get married, they have kids, and they don't really have time for you because they're focused on their own lives. And then maybe you've tried to communicate with your friends and loved ones, and maybe they didn't want to hear you out. They said, hey, go see a therapist. Or maybe they won't listen, but at the same time, they have their own families to take care of. So it almost feels like you're burdening them with your problems, because everyone has their own problems, and the last thing you want to do is burdening you're being a burden on them. And that's a common theme that I've heard from other um young men in their 20s and 30s that I've talked to. Um, they're like, "Hey, everyone's got their lives. I don't want to get in their way. I don't want to be a burden to them." That's another reason why young men feel like they don't have anywhere to go, anyone to talk to, and they believe that you know, self deletion or suicide is their only option. And that bugs me, because in a way, I feel like society, or I strongly believe that society has put them in that corner. Social media um, is another big problem. It's been a problem for men and women. Um, when it comes to men, this is me speaking from experience. But when you're scrolling through social media, and you're seeing a lot of especially men, other men, they might be younger than you, they might be older than you. You see them doing better, and you can tell them all day long. Society, comparison is a thief of joy. But it's not gonna stop them from comparing themselves, because they take it personally. Because again, it's in our DNA. Our DNA, we're biologically programmed to provide, to protect. And whenever we're not doing that, whenever we're not achieving our maximum uh financial or our productive potential, then our biology kicks in and says, hey, you're a failure. I'm going to say that again. Our biology, our thoughts, our DNA kicks in. Our male makeup, our masculine makeup, kicks in and says you're a failure. So society has really hasn't really helped men's mental health. If anything, it's made it worse. Also, these dating apps, it hasn't been kind to men either. Um, hasn't been kind to men because you have 80% of 80% of men trying to attract the top 10, top 20% of women on the app, and then you have those, and then you have those women trying to attract the 20% of the top men on the app. The dating apps are really beneficial for men who are in their in the top 20%. They make six figures. They probably own a home. They drive a really nice car. Guys who have put in time and effort to build themselves up. But other guys who may be younger, or they may have not had the same opportunities, or they may have not put in the same time and effort. They don't see favorable results, and that affects their mental health as well. There's a lot of factors that affect men's mental health. There's also a lot of factors that affect women's mental health. But for some reason, society doesn't want to talk about men's mental health, and yet they're dying by the hundreds each week, each month, by suicide because they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to, or they don't have anyone to give them advice. What do you guys think? If you guys have any thoughts, I'd love to read them in the live chat. Do you guys check in on your friends, on your family members to see how they're doing? And don't ask them how are you doing. Just be like, hey, how's everything going? Like, are you look them in the eyes and say, hey, are you really doing okay? Is everything okay? Are you having any struggles, any challenges in your life? Because when someone says they're doing fine, they're not fine. I can guarantee you that. Because a lot of times, whether they're men or women, they don't want to open up. Either they don't feel comfortable talking about their struggles because they're worried about what you might say. They might believe that you might judge them. Um, it might give them a lot of anxiety. They might not feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and their struggles with you. Or B, they don't want to burden you. Maybe they're single and you have kids. Maybe they're like, you know what, I don't want to burden this person because they already have their hands full. They already have a full plate. They already got enough to deal with. I don't want to keep adding to that plate with my own problems. So sometimes you have to go out of your way to ensure that you are willing to listen to them at any time, um, and basically reassure them. As long as they share their struggles and their thoughts with you, you're not going to judge them. You're not going to feel burdened, and it's a safe place for them to communicate with you. Because I would say that's the number one reason for suicide, men or women. Um, they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. They feel like they can't go anyone uh, and talk about their thoughts and their experiences. Because either they don't feel comfortable or they don't want to burden anyone. And therapy's expensive. Not everyone can afford therapy. That's one of the things that I like to see in my lifetime. Whenever it comes to uh, you know, the progress of in this country. I want to see the government subsidize therapy. I want there to be more affordable therapy programs. And when I say therapy, I'm talking about talk therapy, psychotherapy, not just here's some SSRIs, here's some antidepressants. Take this and you'll feel better. Because it's a lot more complicated and more complex than that. Mental health is not a one size fits all solution. It's very complicated, very complex. Um, and also another thing with therapy is that you have to find a therapist that 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 can not relate to you, but that you can connect with, right? You feel like a good connection with because for me that's something that I went through when I went through therapy. I originally enrolled into therapy because I wanted to become a better version of myself by talking to a therapist about a lot of things that a lot of the struggles and a lot of challenges that I grew up with. With being a fat kid. I'm doing. I'll forever be grateful to talk therapy because I'm doing so much better now. But one of the most important things I learned in therapy is that you gotta set boundaries and you have to respect other people's boundaries. You can't just do what you want or say what you want. Um, and a lot of people that and I'm not trying to go off topic. Just saying that if someone does do something, don't push them, and vice versa. If you don't feel if someone wants to do something, or if someone wants to do something and you don't feel comfortable with it, you gotta let them know. Don't let them overstep their boundaries. And then also, when it comes to male celebrities that are, or even women celebrities, they're dying by suicide, and a lot of them have money. Money doesn't solve certain problems. Sure, it solves a lot of problems, but it doesn't solve childhood trauma. It doesn't solve, if you're lonely, if you don't have many friends that you can trust. It doesn't solve that. So just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean that you're not gonna have mental health issues. A lot of people argue that when people who have money and have mental health issues, they their issues are multiplied by times 10. And I have no reason to disagree. But we all have our challenges and we all have our obstacles. I don't think any person's mental health challenge is less important than the other. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have our challenges. We all have our childhood trauma. We all have something that we feel like we missed out on or maybe didn't have in our childhood, and it follows us through adulthood. One of the things that my last therapist told me was, adults are just kids dealing with with childhood problems, and I thought that was very profound because it's true. You experience and hear things as a kid, and you go into adulthood with those same problems. Um, but yeah, I think we're gonna keep seeing these problems until this country starts taking mental health more seriously by subsidizing talk therapy, making it more affordable for everyone. And I would say, yeah, talk therapy is huge because you can't just give someone antidepressants or SSRIs and tell them that they're gonna feel better. It might be a band-aid, it might be a short-term fix, but even then, how's that gonna fix the problem? If someone was abused as a kid, or if someone came from an alcoholic household, if one or both of their parents were alcoholics, how are those pills gonna help them? It's just a short-term fix, it's just a band-aid. But yeah, it's really bugs me that it just really bugs me that young men in their 20s and 30s, my age range, are dying by suicide every day and no one's talking about it. It's only a handful of people. What's the solution? I don't know, but I think it would be really it'll be a step in the right direction. If we have some type of affordable therapeutic options, and not just give someone, or not give everyone who's having mental health challenges pills and medication to to impede their thought process, to slow down their thought process of having suicidal ideation and all those things. So we're reaching we're 15 minutes into the stream. For the last 5-10 minutes, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them in the live chat. I'm not someone, I'm not proposing that I have all the solutions. I'm just, some guy on the internet who's written a couple books, that wants to shed light on this because it really bugs me that not many people are talking about this. And I strongly believe that, the reason for that is society, especially now with with radical feminism, which is what it really is. I'm all for, women having equal rights and getting equal treatment and all these things. But I don't think radical feminism or radical masculinity is the way. We shouldn't be putting, you know, one gender down than the other. I'm not saying men or women are equal. I'm saying that we're both worthy of. I'm not saying they're equal. I'm not saying they're unequal. Because the thing is that whenever you say men and women are equal, you're saying that both of them are capable of giving birth. You're saying both of them are capable of nurturing. And that's really not the case. Women nurture and men protect. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always going to be. I'm all for everyone having, equal rights, getting respected equally, all those things for sure. We got Steven 101 in the house. What's going on, Steven? Steven says men are not appreciating this culture. I agree. Um, we're looked down upon. Um, you know, as I was saying earlier, men aren't wanted and loved by society the way they think we or the way they think they are. The way we think we are. Society likes us for for what we provide. Men are providers and protectors, and then women are they bring beautiful children to this house into this world. They nourish them, they raise them. Men have their responsibilities, and women have their responsibilities. But it's just complete BS whenever society decides to turn a blind eye to when men need help the most. Whenever we're just looking for someone to listen to us and maybe help us out in terms of giving advice, but even if you could just listen to someone that's struggling or hurting, then you'd be helping them out big time. Because a lot of men don't have that. That's the reason why they feel like they're lonely. I know this is a personal question, or it's a tough topic, but have any of you guys in chat lost someone to suicide? One of my closest friends, he passed away last year, and I tried to help him in any way. Me and a couple other mutual friends tried to help him out, but he didn't die directly by suicide, and I believe he died indirectly by suicide. The reason why I say indirectly is because he basically drank himself to death. That was coping mechanism. Just like I was talking about different vices, having addictions and using, alcohol, smoking, or food as coping mechanisms. He used alcohol, and he too was battling depression and some other mental health challenges. And one morning he didn't wake up. I told him so many times, go see a therapist. Whenever you feel like you need someone to talk to, you can always reach out to me. But he was the type of person who was very prideful. He had an ego, and he didn't want to open up. He just kept drinking and eventually drank himself to death. That was a friend. We're really close friends. We'd known each other for 12 years, but we are probably close for what, 8 years, 9 years. Hey, what's up, Sovereign? Thanks for stopping by. Yes, not super close because of bro I went to high school with back in the day. I'm sorry for your loss, man. I know what it's like. I also lost one of my close friends to mental health challenges. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know. We have about 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna close out the stream with these last few words. I don't know when this country is gonna start taking mental health seriously for men and for women, but the sooner it does, the better. And Sovereign says, sorry, John. I also have a close friend who's a pretty hardcore alcoholic. He has withdrawals really bad, shakes in the morning. Yeah, yeah. Alcohol is an animal for sure. But yeah, I wanted to close out the stream with this, and also again, if you guys have any thoughts or questions, leave them in the chat while the stream is still going. I'll respond to them. But in my part in this live stream, I like to close it out with the fact that I don't know when this country is going to start taking mental health seriously for both men and women, but the sooner it does, the better. And neglecting and ignoring men's mental health, the fact that men are killing themselves every day because they feel like they have no one to talk to without because they feel like they're lonely. They don't have anyone to talk to without feel like they're going to be judged is a shame in a country like the U.S. with all these resources available. If you have a friend who's struggling, tell them to see a therapist. If they can't afford one, then I'm not saying this is a solution, but in terms of if you're wondering what you can do, you can just listen to them. Tell them that hey, I'll listen to any judgment, and if I can, I'll give you my advice. Um, but ignoring mental health and hoping that things will get better is not a solution. Hope is not a strategy. And we might I'm glad to see we're taking a step direction, with women, and give them the resources they need, but we also need to do the same for men. We can't keep using terms like toxic masculinity, all these things, blaming men for things that they haven't done. Because we need both men and women in this country, in this world. We can't have both. All this stuff about I don't need no man, and or even men. There's a group of men. There's a group of men that categorize themselves as MGTOW, which stands for men going their own way. They're like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of all these dating apps. I'm tired of not being able to get a date. Men picking or women picking men that are, way more successful. And I don't need no women. I'm just gonna go my own way. That's not a solution either. This country, this world needs both men and women, and we need to support each other. Um, with everything that we can. The resources are there, so there's no reason why men are killing themselves every day due to suicide, especially in a country like the U.S. where we have all the resources that we need. And hoping that one day or praying one day that things are going to get better. They're not until we as a country start taking action. Therapy's expensive, but we can. I'm sure again, I don't like talking politics, but I'm sure we can vote some type of program in where people who are struggling with mental health can have access to talk therapy and other resources that can help them. I'm not an expert on that, so I can't really speak on that. So to close out the stream, I don't know what the solution is, but if you have check up on all your friends and don't just say how are you doing. Ask them if they're really okay, because a lot of people don't feel comfortable opening up because they're worried about you judging them, or if they have a kind heart, maybe they're worried about burdening you and they don't want to burden you. So yeah. But there's no excuse for young men in their 20s and 30s to be killing themselves because we as a society are failing them. And also it's because there's a reason why they're struggling either in their current lives or from something from childhood. So um, Sovereign says, I agree. The government only cares about its own. In my case, being a single father isn't easy in the country, but it's the most rewarding. Hey man, that's a really good thought process to have, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Uh, before I close out the stream, I want to say, props to you, Sovereign, and props to all the single parents out there. Um, that's all the motivation to keep everything on level. Yeah, exactly. Just want to say, to all the people out there who think that you don't need a husband, you don't need a wife. Historically, children have better mental health. They have a better life when both parents are there. So if you think that divorcing your spouse or allowing your children to grow up without both parents is not the solution, not statistically at least. But yeah, if you guys are first and foremost, thank you to everyone who stopped by and joined in on this conversation, whether you listen or whether you contributed. Appreciate you guys. If you guys are watching on the replay, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys next one. Peace.